Welcome back to Hello, It's Better to Talk. Love and light to you all. It's February, and so we're going to be talking a bit more about love and relationships. And a love where I felt I saved him and I know he saved me. That's all contained in my book, No Place to Lie. And I'm also going to be talking a bit about how I see relationships these days. So I've brought along a butterfly. I'll tell you more about that later on in the episode. Hello, my name's Helen Garlick. For 35 years, I was a family lawyer and mediator, but I kept secret what was happening in my own family of origin. Now I know it's time to talk about it. So I'd like to warmly welcome you to Hello, It's Better to Talk. So I'm going to talk today about somebody who has been incredibly important in my life. He was the best friend of my brother David, a guy who I've called in the book Nick Kane. And he was only 20 when we met and I was 22. He was a friend of my brother's, and so it's kind of a bit taboo, really. I don't know how you feel about this, but in terms of having relationships with friends of siblings, is that okay? Is it not okay? But anyway, we were kind of forced into this because of the circumstances, or forced or we chose. So this is set in North Cornwall, and I always feel that Cornish people kind of are redolent of their landscape. In that part of the countryside, the trees are bent back from the wind. It's a wind that's always sweeping in from the sea. It's a hilly country, undulating. It's beautiful. It's near the sea. It's at times harsh and at times incredibly beautiful. There's a strong link with Celtic roots for Cornish people. So many of them have lovely dark hair and blue eyes. Nick Kane had blonde hair and green eyes and was tall. And one thing that people would always say about him was, oh, he's wild, that one. Now, I've already talked about how Nick and I met, and that after my brother's funeral, he was so desperately upset. And I found out that he talked to my brother David about suicide. They both talked about killing themselves. They both had difficult relationships with their fathers, although in different ways. And Nick was a farmer, a sheep farmer in Devon. So we fell in love. We comforted one another. We talked about David. We could talk about David so much. I learned so much about my brother through having a relationship with Nick. And I am so grateful for that. But one thing I really wanted to talk about was that Nick I got him talking about what he wanted to do in life. So he's 20. And he said eventually he has two dreams. So one was to get away from the West Country, where, there are a lot of people there who say, I've never gone beyond page 4 in the map book. So they never get to anywhere as wild as Bristol or London or anything like that. He, however, wanted to go to Australia and really go to the other side of the world and feel what life would be like over there. And the second dream was that he wanted to learn how to fly. So for his 21st birthday, I got him a hang gliding lesson. And he learned to fly. So he did 3 hang gliding lessons and learned to fly. And also with him and with his father, I encouraged him to talk to his father about the fact he wanted to go to Australia. This seemed impossible to him at the time. Sheep farming is a tough business, and his dad couldn't really see how he could let him go. But anyway, he did talk things through with his dad and explained how important it was to him. And eventually his dad did agree that he could go. So he was due to go off to Australia for 6 months. Now, I loved him very deeply. There was also a part of me that kind of knew that our lives could well be incompatible, because I quite like getting up a bit later in the morning. Doesn't really work on a sheep farm. I also love literature and can get completely lost in books. Wouldn't really work very well on a sheep farm. So longer term, this relationship wasn't going to last. And this is what I want to kind of talk about how I see relationships. Because it feels to me nowadays as if the people who love you and are drawn to you, and you love them and are drawn to them, it's a bit like a butterfly landing on the palm of your hand. And you just need to keep your palm open and let the butterfly flourish. Because if you try and hang on to somebody who isn't right for you, you crush their butterfly. You need to stay open and let the butterfly alight and then leave. So that's in my head, that's where I have this notion of what relationships are like, and it stood me in good stead, because not everybody is right for us, and there are people that come into our lives in this incarnation for now who will stay with us, who want the best for us and want us to grow and be the butterfly, the true butterfly we can be. So that's my thought for you today, and I send you so much love and light. And I hope you'll join me next week for the next episode of Hello, It's Better to Talk.